should men open up and talk about their emotions more? So I've been requested to react to this video by sister, I think her name is Liani. She was on this brother's podcast, 5 Pillars. And let's just get straight into it.
If we have a generation, or if it becomes trendy for men to talk about emotional stuff and insecurities and many struggles and challenges that they're facing in their life, and these things, it becomes a normal practice to talk about these things, especially with the knowledge of your wife or your children, or it could send a signal of weakness, and weakness could be taken for granted.
That's the issue. The issue that talking about your emotions means that you are weak. Whereas we women, let's let them, because men maybe have not heard it from a woman before.
But they could be weaponized.
That we see a man being able to tap into his emotions as being a great strength.
Really?
A great strength.
Tapping into your emotions and then expressing them, moaning, whining, crying, are two totally different things. I've said this before and I'll say this again. Taking relationship advice from women, I don't care if she's Muslim or non-Muslim, and respect to the sister. I respect your hustle and what you do. This is not a personal attack on you. Never take relationship advice from women, because they fundamentally don't know what they want. They'll tell you, okay, for example, I'm fine means I'm not fine. Go means come. Come means go. They fundamentally don't know what's not what necessarily makes them happy, but what's best for them in a relationship. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just because it makes her happy doesn't mean it will make her respect you. And this is a perfect example of something that might make a woman happy in the short term. Oh, he's sharing his feelings with me. But in the long run, it will put her off you to the nth degree. And I will prove it. I will prove it to you. President Biden of America, of the United States, or the general of an army. Let's say the general of an army. Let's use that example. General of this army. He's in charge of taking care of this great big army, very powerful army. This general, you look to him, you look up to him. You look up to him. Emphasis on that. You are looking to him for leadership. You are looking to him to guide you. He comes and makes an announcement one day and stands up on the pulpit or wherever he is to speak to his people, to his lieutenants, and says, "Gentlemen, I'm going through a really rough time. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what the next course of action is. I'm feeling really stressed out. I don't know whether we should do this or that. Things are starting to really overwhelm me." And on and on. He expresses his emotions. He's honest. After the initial feeling of feeling sorry for the general, some of you may feel sorry for him, most of you won't. But after that initial feeling of sympathy or empathy to the general, how do you now feel in that general's ability to lead you? How do you feel in that general's ability to continue heading this army? How do you feel? You've lost confidence. Why? Because he's come up and told you, I feel stressed out and it's affecting my decision-making ability and I'm not sure what to do and everything's just getting to me. He was honest. He expressed his emotion, which is great, right? Wrong. Why? Because that's the burden of leadership. And we're going to get into it more. I'm going to let the sister continue and I'll explain more to you as we go along.
Especially in a society where men are told that they should not be doing that. But here's the thing, what is the purpose of doing that? Is in order for you to be stronger, not to
better yourself.
Better yourself.
Yeah,
it's not about, oh, woe is me, my life is so hard, oh my God, look at my life. It's actually, okay, do you know what? I've got these insecurities. I don't want to project these insecurities onto my wife. Or I want to be able to be a really emotionally connected person so that I can pass that on to my sons, onto my daughter. I can actually have a beautiful relationship with the people in my life. That is the result of emotional intelligence, emotional literacy. The thing is, when men lock down and shut down their emotions, they struggle to recognize emotions in other people. and empathize with other people, and they struggle to handle other people's emotions. So when a woman is crying, okay, just take a tissue, just mop it up, mop it up. You can't.
Okay, there's a few things to unpack now. Firstly and foremostly, she's operating under a presumption. And that presumption is the following. Pay attention, that the female way of emoting is the correct way. Because women have a proclivity to, when their stress is getting to them, they call up their girlfriends and talk to them and so on and so forth. And it helps them because it's good for them. It seems to help them. The underlying presumption is because it helps women, it will also help men. This is patently untrue. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. And the man is not like the woman. We are different. And this is an example of one of those things. When a man calls up his friend just to talk about his emotions, he feels worse. I'll repeat that again. When a man calls up his friends just to talk about his emotions for the sake of it, he feels worse, not better. Why? When women are going through issues, emotional issues, oftentimes they're not looking for a solution. In fact, they get sick of you providing solutions for them. Stop being a fixer. Stop trying to fix my problems. Just hear me out. That's all she wants, is for you to hear her out. And that's okay. That's fine for her. That's what works for her. She's not looking for a solution. Men are solution-oriented creatures. When we talk about our problems without looking for a solution, we feel worse. We feel weak, exposed. It doesn't help us. Men want to fix problems. And this entire clip can be summarized with one single ayah from Surah Yusuf. When Yaqub alayhi salam's sons returned from Egypt, and they said to their father that Binyamin, he stole something and he was kept behind. This is before Yusuf revealed his identity to his brothers. And he turned away from them. وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَا عَلَى يُوسُف. So even though his youngest son Binyamin he had now lost Binyamin, he turned away from them and said, Ya Asafa ala Yusuf. His sadness about Yusuf was reminded. It reminded him of his sadness for having lost Yusuf many years before that. وَبِيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. And then his eyes went white from sadness, from grief. And then the ayah continues, قالوا تفتأ تذكر يوسف حتى تكون حرضا أو تكون من الهالكين. His sons, in a very rude way, said to their father Yaqub alayhi salam, you're going to continue remembering Yusuf and going on about Yusuf until you either become sick or you're going to become of the ruined. That was their response to their father, even though it was them who threw Yusuf in the well in the first place. And then the one ayah that I want you to focus on is his response, Yaqub alayhi salam's response to that statement. This one single ayah. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. That's it. It's not even the whole ayah. It's half an ayah. The rest of that ayah is وَأَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. He replied, I turn my grief and sadness to Allah alone. I am not complaining to you. I am not moaning to you. I am complaining and moaning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's break this down as men. Firstly and foremostly, as I've just mentioned, it doesn't make us feel better talking about our emotions for the sake of it. Number one. Number two, if the general of the army starts emoting and expressing himself like this, you are going to lose confidence in the general. You are the general of your household. You cannot emote and express yourself like this because your subordinates, your wife, your family, your kids, that might make her happy in the short term. In the long term, she loses confidence in your ability to lead because now you're emoting like her. Women emote not to seek solutions much of the time. They emote and complain and talk to each other because that's what makes them feel better. And that's okay for them, not for us. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. And the man is not like the woman. We are not the same. But once again, and this is why I say, gentlemen, be careful. A lot of sisters carry feminist belief sets without identifying as a feminist. Oftentimes, they are anti-feminist on paper. And I'm not saying she's a feminist or anything of the sort. I'm simply saying they carry feminist belief sets without realizing it. This is a feminist belief set that men need to emote more like women. The underlying presumption is the female, feminine way of emoting is the superior way. And the masculine way of emoting is toxic or inferior, or it's not good for you. No, we're different. We don't want to complain and emote for the sake of it. We want solutions. And on those rare occasions that I myself have complained for the sake of it, I felt worse. You don't feel better as a man. Women feel better when they emote just for the sake of it. Men don't. We want solutions. Your complaints and your sadness is for Allah. Put your head on the floor and complain to Him. As for solutions, speak to your friends, seek advice, but don't moan and gripe. Don't moan and gripe, and don't ask your wife, because your wife will lose confidence in you. Unless you have you can word it in a way where she doesn't sense some type of weakness, but for the most part, you should not be asking your wife, because she can't help you. She's your comfort. She's your care. She's not your solution center. Your solution center, you're going to have to seek advice elsewhere. For the most part, that's how it has to be. In order for the subordinates of that army to retain confidence in the general.
Handle her, you can't even hold, and she is in turn thinking, bloody hell, I just wanted him to listen to me. Like, he can't even listen to me. He can't even be there for me when I need him. Do you see what I mean?
Right, that's a great example there. As you see, I just wanted him to listen to me. I don't want solutions. Stop trying to build. Stop trying to fix. I just want you to listen to me. And that's fine. Maybe it does make men less capable of emoting or communicating in the feminine because he doesn't have practice of it. But sisters, do you want a wife or a husband? That's the trade-off. If you want a man to be in the habit of emoting like a woman, you are going to have another woman in the household. You are going to have another wife in the household. You don't want him to be good, proficient at emoting like a woman. You don't want that, because that will innately make you repulsed by him. It will put you off him. And again, you will get what you want, but it won't make you respect him for it. It will cause you to lose respect for him. It might make you happy in the short term. Yay, he's expressing himself. Woo! In the long term, you lose respect. You lose confidence in his ability to lead. This is awful advice. Respectfully, sister, this is awful advice. This is good advice for ladies, not for men. And again, this is why I say, gentlemen, relationship advice, you should not be seeking it from women, because they, for the most part, don't know. They don't know what's best for them. They think this will make me happy, but it actually is. It's not good for them. Just because it makes her happy doesn't mean she will respect you for it.
And that's because he can't deal with emotions, because he hasn't learned to deal with his own.
Okay.
Drop mic.
Yeah. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and so it's not.
And you can see the brother here. He's a sharp cookie, by the way. I don't know who this brother is, but throughout this entire podcast, he's had some. You can tell he's a sharp cookie. The way he formulates his questions and the way he thinks, you can tell he's sharp. But you can see that he has a natural inclination away from this. He is naturally disturbed by this. And it's nothing to do with toxic masculinity. It's because men, generally speaking, know how best to handle themselves. They know how is best to handle themselves. We have experience of it. We are solution-oriented creatures. We don't want to moan for the sake of it. We want solutions, not just whining and griping and expressing for the sake of it. This underlying presumption that the feminine way of communicating is the superior way is a feminist narrative. Again, that's why I say be careful. A lot of sisters hold feminist belief sets without even realizing it.
men becoming snowflakes.
Yeah.
It's actually men becoming whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard that, brothers.
So
Get into
This brother ain't buying it.
to the game, man.
get
Fix
into the
up.
game.
Yeah,
Sort yourselves
start
out.
letting them water wells.
Let the
them
water
run.
wells run,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your woman will love you more for it.
Okay, and if that doesn't work, you know exactly who to be DMing with complaints. Yeah.
You know what? It's about having balance.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So let's say a woman is just like, huh. You
Mm.
think there's something wrong with her, you know?
Mm.
But when a man is only, huh, it's seen to be normal.
Yeah.
But
Yes, sister, that's right. Because we are different. If a woman emoted like a man, if a woman didn't call up her girlfriends and talk just for the sake of it and do feminine things, female things, and she was stoic and emotionless for the most part and, just headstrong, that would be a put off to men. That would be weird. Yes, that's correct, sister. We are different. You hit the nail on the head without even realizing it. It would be weird for a woman to do that. And then she continues to say, but when a man does that, that's fine. Yes, that's right. We are different.
we're whole beings.
Yeah.
We have both sides.
Definitely.
That masculine side and that feminine side. The energy we all have that. So we all have the ability. A woman has the ability to grind and be on her hustle, but also to be able to be soft. And a man can be on his hustle and on his grind, and also be able to be soft.
Okay, yes, it is true that men can have a sprinkling of femininity and it be an asset to them. If you are too much of one thing, you're boring. That softness that she refers to, when a man is soft and he is soft with his family, for example, or with his wife, it's like spice in a food. A little bit of it makes the food delicious. But too much and you spoil the dish. This softness she speaks of, it should not be a 50-50 balance. And that's the impression that I get from the way she is speaking about it. And equally for women, that stoic nature that she speaks of, or on her grind, on her hustle, spice in the food. Too much of it, and she's masculine. She's not strong. She's not strong and independent, or strong, whatever you want to call it. She's masculine, because those are masculine qualities. It is a masculine quality to want to build. Men build, women nest. It is masculine when a woman is on her grind and on her hustle. That's not feminine. That's not strong. It's masculine. Those are masculine qualities. Men build, women nest. I'm not saying women can't go out there and do their own thing and so on. I'm just saying that's a masculine trait. So a little bit like spice in a food. Yes, a bit of softness is good with your children as a man, telling them you love them, and with your wife and so on and so forth. Too much of it and you spoil the food.
And that's beautiful to have both.
I want to ask you a particular scenario, situation. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Have you ever met sisters, practicing God-fearing Muslim women who are in marriages? Their husbands are fulfilling those fara'id which is expected from them. So let's even put the necessities aside. Let's put the fact, a home to call her own without the in-laws.
I like that addition.
We're Desi. We have to put that clause in. You know what I mean? So there's that. Providing sufficiently clothes, food. Letting her visit her parents. Regularly. Never putting her in a situation where she has to choose between you or her. Not being stingy with your wealth. So have you ever met sisters who have had all these things from their husbands and their spouse, but they are still unhappy because the husband's not emotionally on point?
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair though?
Is she asking for too much?
Why is that fair though?
Yeah, it is fair.
Why?
Because she has that as a right. In terms of that connect. Maybe that.
What right is this, sister? You use the word right. What right is this? The right for him to spill his tears on you? I'd like to know, what right in Islam is this that you are talking about? And notice that he said, if she's taken care of and everything's well, and she's still unhappy, does she have the right? She said yes. Once again, it is from the nature, the natural proclivity of women to be ungrateful towards their husbands. I have mentioned the hadith many times. You can find it in my previous videos. I'm not going to bring it up again. I've done it too many times. That the Prophet ﷺ said the majority of the inhabitants of the hellfire are women. And then the Sahaba asked, why is that, O Messenger of Allah? And then he responded, because they are ungrateful towards their husbands and they curse frequently. O kama qal, to the nearest translation. They curse frequently and they are ungrateful to their husbands. I believe it was curse frequently. I might have butchered that part. But the focus of that part of the hadith was they are ungrateful towards their husbands. He can do something for them for a lifetime. It's the continuation of the hadith. And then she will see one thing wrong and she will say to him, what have you ever done for me? To the nearest translation, what have you ever done for me? So it's from the natural proclivity of women to be ungrateful. Once again, this is why you can't ask women for relationship advice, because that's their natural bent. Their natural bent is to be ungrateful. And look, as the brother said, I'm patting it all up, I'm taking care of everything, and still she's unhappy because I'm not emoting myself. Is that okay? And the sister said, yes. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You make your own decisions.
How she feels that she feels loved, or she feels like she can connect with him. And it's interesting because we get so many questions from the emotional intimacy episode on Honesty Talk about this. Like, oh my God, like I just don't feel connection with like he doesn't talk, or he's like this, oh he doesn't even get me, or he doesn't like the
whilst providing everything that the religion says he needs to provide.
Yeah.
That wasn't very convincing, sister. Your response was a bit like, yeah. Oh God.
You think it's fair?
What makes it unfair?
That, at the end of the day, the sister should see it as, at the end
shut up and put up.
No. I didn't. That then words didn't come out of my mouth. They didn't come out of my mouth. That I'm working, I'm grinding to make sure the queen has a good life, right?
Yeah.
The queen's got a good life. She ain't need to struggle for nothing. Yeah. She's got more than adequate clothes, and good ones at that. She's got a home to call her own. Ours ain't have to live with the in-laws, right? Yeah. When I say this, I'm kind of addressing a particular demographic of my audience, which I come from that community. Yeah. I don't know if living with in-laws is a West African Nigerian thing.
Not at all. Never.
It's not a flex, no.
No, we don't go that way.
Well, there's like a compulsory stretch that most Desi sisters have to kind of do, yeah?
Yeah.
But anyway, it is what it is. Actually, you blah, well, is it what it is?
Is it what it is? Oh gosh, you've got I like that.
Okay, but anyway, so the brother would be like, look, I'm doing everything that God has told me I need to deliver for my wife. I am providing for her materially. I am not depriving her of love and intimacy. I'm not making a choice between my family and her family. She's frequenting her family as much as possible, etc., etc. Why then now is it becoming a problem that I'm not emotionally intact or emotionally intelligent or emotionally connected with her?
Have you heard of the 5 love languages?
The 5 what?
Oh
love
boy.
Languages.
There we go.
Nah.
Oh gosh.
What's the 5 love languages?
It's like, what are you doing? How do you know?
Every woman's favorite book, The 5 Love Languages.
No, about the 5 love languages.
Well, I didn't know Will Smith's wife, so I think it was downhill from that point, really. What's the 5 languages of love?
Okay, so... Yeah, so... Okay.
Mohsin, we get it, mate. Okay, carry on. So what's the 5?
So the 5 love languages are different ways people show and receive love.
Let's hear this.
Right? So, gosh, man, we're really educating today. Okay, so most of us show love the way...
People will be watching, they're thinking this is... I don't know. I don't know what people think of me after this. I mean... But I'm being honest, Sister LaYinka has this...
It's good that you alhamdulillah.
Okay.
It's good.
So the 5 languages... So, who created this language, by the way?
It's...
Masha, I'm so glad I'm telling you, this brother is a sharp cookie. This brother, he don't take no BS. I'm glad he asked that question. Because she made it like, these are like laws of life. The 5 love languages. It's invented by some dude, Gary Chapman. I'm not saying he's completely wrong, by the way. I'm going to give him credit in a second, but let's let them continue.
A guy called Gary Chapman, he observed...
Why do I need to take this guy seriously?
Didn't I tell you this guy asked the right questions? The brother is sharp, Allahu Akbar. Why do I need to take this guy seriously?
If you want a good life.
Oh, come on. So
Okay, just you haven't even let me land.
Okay,
You haven't
go
let
on,
me
go on.
finish.
All right, cool.
So you've got the 5 love languages, and most of us give love in the way we would like to receive it.
Okay.
So one of them is words of affirmation. So I love you. You mean so much to me.
You're my queen. You're
You're
special.
my
You're
queen.
the best
My
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And another is gifts. So giving gifts and receiving gifts is another one. Another one is acts of service. So taking the trash out, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, doing stuff for them. You're counting.
Yeah.
So we've got, and then another one is quality time. So just to be able to spend time with that person. And and the 5th one is physical touch. So hugs, kisses.
Oh, just
hugs, kisses, a touch, this, whatever. Most people only give love in the way they like to receive it. So, for instance, you can have a man who is great at acts of service, like acts of service. So he does things for his wife. He, brings home the bacon. He does what he needs to do. Da 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 da. And she says, "Oh my God, Abdullah doesn't love me." And he's like, "What the hell do you mean I don't love you? Don't you see how I'm breaking my back for you?" Right? So men are generally, some men are great at acts of service and doing things for their wife, but the woman actually is a person of, she likes to be told she's loved. She's a words of affirmation, right?
I really didn't like how she said there some men like to do acts of service like that, almost implying that the majority of men don't like to take care of their women. The way man expresses his love for the most part is by providing, because a man knows that his worth to his woman is going to be primarily measured by his ability to provide provision. You can give her all the touching and squidges and hugs and all that in the world. If you are not providing, she will be bouncing. She won't be hanging around for long. So we innately understand this, and still they complain. "Oh, but Abdullah doesn't love me," because your natural proclivity is to be ungrateful, my dear sister. Not you specifically, women in general, as per the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, let's give some credit where it's due. I do believe the 5 love languages book, I actually read that book off the back of a recommendation from another entrepreneur for dealing with employees in the workplace. So that's why I read that book. And it does have its place even in an intimate setting. She is right. There are different people express love in different ways. For example, I've noticed amongst my own children, my children love receiving gifts and give gifts when they're feeling loving, even if it's just like a small sweet or chocolate. Let's say touching or that touchy-feely stuff, they're not really too into that. They're not really, especially the kids that I had with my first wife, they're not really too into that touchy-feely, huggy sort of stuff. That's not their thing. Gifts, that's their thing. So now, if you are going to give the touchy-feely, huggy stuff with kids who instinctively don't like that, and ignore the fact that they enjoy gifts, not to say that you should spoil them or anything like this. I'm simply saying that that's how they receive love and give love, and you ignore that, then yeah, they might feel a little bit neglected. The problem with the 5 love languages, and I've done this video before and I'll add it up in the cards here, you must watch this video, is when we confuse this 5 love languages business with desire. That's where it goes completely wrong. My wife she doesn't desire me enough because I don't do acts of service for her enough, or I don't buy her enough gifts, or I don't wash up enough dishes. If I washed up enough dishes or more dishes or helped out more around the house, she would be more turned on. She would be more inclined to be intimate with me. BS. You cannot negotiate desire. If this were true, that if I did more dishes for her, she'd be more turned on by me, then how do we explain this phenomenon that has become so rampant that Netflix made a #1 TV series about it, #1 in UK, America, India, called Sex Life? Don't watch it, I've only seen the trailer. It's completely haram, it's 18 plus. If this were true, why is it that in this example of this woman here in this program, who had everything for her: beautiful home, handsome husband, he's wealthy, he's the nice guy, and yet she still cheated on him and desired the bad boy who did nothing for her. No access service, treated her like trash, so on and so forth. She desired him, but she didn't desire the good guy. Why is that? Because desire can't be negotiated. Desire is something that comes about not through access service and things like and all that nonsense. No, it comes about as a result of the man that you are. And typically speaking, there is an inverse paradoxical relationship. The less attention you give a woman, the more she wants it. The more she values your attention, and the more attracted she will be to you, especially in an intimate setting. I'll say that again. The less attention you give a woman, the more she values your attention, and the more she will chase after your attention and validation. I'm not saying to be an asshole and to completely ignore her. I'm simply saying that your attention has to be treated like a rare commodity if you want it to be valued as such. Gold is not an unlimited resource on this planet. It's one of the most desirable resources on this planet, one of the most desirable commodities, precisely because it's limited. There's not much of it. You need to be like that gold. We digress. My point here is that with this 5 love languages business, where people go wrong is thinking that if I speak more of her love language, she will desire me more, which is the number one problem most men have with their women. She doesn't desire me enough. Yeah, men typically desire intimacy more than women do. Men have more than 9 times more testosterone than a woman does. It makes perfect sense. Can it be the other way around? Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But for the most part, it's a man who wants intimacy from his woman more than she does from him. And then you read this book and you think, if I wash up the dishes, she will desire me more. Nonsense. Nonsense. Twaddle. And there's one famous entrepreneur, I forget his name now, Dan Hardy. He wrote the book, The Compound Effect. And he done this whole video research on YouTube of asking many women under his employ in his workplace, what would make you desire your husband more? And the unanimous answer was, if he did more house chores, we would desire him more. This is why you don't ask women for relationship advice. He went into his man brain and thought, right, I need a solution. Let me ask the audience. They don't know. If they knew, then they wouldn't chase after the bad boy. You see, never watch or pay attention to what a woman says. Pay attention to her actions. Why do women, on the one hand, say, we want the nice guy, pay attention to me, so on and so forth, and then on the other hand, they have this irresistible magnetic attraction to the bad boy? Why is that? Because the bad boy is rare in the attention he gives that woman. It's a rare resource. It's valued more. But if you ask a woman, what do you want? This is the answer she will give you, because she thinks, yeah, that's going to make me happy. It will make her happy. And it will also make the tap dry. And this is why you can't ask women. They don't know. And oftentimes, in order to keep a woman's interest levels high, you are going to have to do things that upset her, that irritate her, that annoy her. That's just the way it goes. It's a paradoxical relationship. She doesn't need to be happy all the time. That's not important. What's important is that the relationship is maintained over the long run. And remember, sex, physical attraction between both parties is the glue to a relationship. It's the glue. If your woman doesn't desire you, or if you don't desire her, doesn't matter how much you love her or how much she loves you, you will eventually go your separate ways. Do not underestimate the importance of physical desire in a relationship.
Sisters, so the women vary.
So everyone varies.
Okay.
Right? Everyone varies, but most people aren't in tune with their partner's love language.
Okay.
And so they don't know that actually she doesn't vibe with the I love you. She actually doesn't care how many times you tell her you love her. She would prefer to just have a new pair of shoes every month, because hers is receiving gifts.
Why are you grinning for, Mohsin? What did you say you almost?
Again, brothers, don't break your back. Don't break your back. If you can't afford to buy her a new pair of shoes every month, don't buy her the damn pair of shoes. If her love language is gift giving and it's a really big thing and she genuinely feels unloved if you don't buy her a gift, make her something. Don't put yourself out. You don't need to put yourself out like that. If you can afford it, more power to you. If you can't, don't feel like, man, I'm going to be an inadequate husband if I don't buy her a new pair of shoes every month. Especially women's shoes, they can get pricey. So think of something, by all means, you know, make her a little card or make her a little something or get her a little something, but don't put yourself out. Don't break your back. Alright, we're going to leave it there. If you found value in the video, hit the like and please hit the subscribe. More than 50% of you are not subscribed to this channel, but you enjoy this content. Help me out, inshallah ta'ala, to produce more content and reach more people by hitting the like and hitting the subscribe. And remember, gentlemen, just because it makes her happy doesn't mean she will respect you for it.
نار نار سنفجرها برصاصنا نمحوها العار مهلا يا